How do you know if something's right for you? The balance between is this an emotional decision, a logical one, or something in between? You've got a lot on your plate, and figuring out one more thing might not feel feasible. Logically, we know that financial literacy makes a difference, right? Inside this episode, we're talking about a three-step process I use when it comes to making decisions, especially those around money, confidently. This is the Your Money, Your Life podcast where ambitious women come together to have clarity, prosperity, and confidence with their money without sacrificing precious time and well deserved fun. So let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Cerka. We are talking today about knowing if something's right for you. We're talking about making smart money decisions and being able to really do that in a confident manner. Okay. So, like I mentioned in the intro, there's a three-step process that I use. And this is probably honestly going to be a shorter episode because, there's three questions and we don't really have a lot that we have to go into with those, but let's get to it. So the first question, is this something that will benefit you long-term? Okay. So we talk about this often with the 24-hour rule, not making impulse spending, large purchases, impulse purchases that isn't something that is going to benefit us long-term. I think the 24-hour rule here really makes a big difference. That's also part of the reason why when we open the doors for the academy, the fast action bonuses lasted for a little bit longer than 24 hours to give you time to do that. I want you to implement what I'm teaching you, and I want to respect the fact that you are doing that. Now, of course, we had extra bonuses for those who were like, yeah, I'm in, heck yes, we're doing this like live. But I still wanted to reward those fast action takers who did that within like a reasonable amount of time, because you were able to sit there and really evaluate like, okay, is this something that'll benefit me long term? Is this like a short-term satisfaction? The question that I'll hear often asked like in a different way for this to really tangibly see this is, will this matter 5 years from now? Will this matter 10 years from now? And if you can say yes, like this will benefit me 5, 10 years from now, then I think you can answer the first question confidently. So it is something that would benefit you long term, which brings us to the second question. Is this something that aligns with your values? Because if you hold things to be important, but you're not honoring that with your purchases, there's going to be a disconnect, a cognitive dissonance that shows up whenever you're making those decisions, those questions, and it's not aligning the way that it should. You cause that friction, and the friction, when there's friction, you're not creating as much momentum as you want. You're not going to see as much success as you want. You're going to self-sabotage. You're going to second guess yourself. For example, another thing is I don't really work the weekends. You might know that by now. So whenever I make an offering and I open the doors for the academy, or we do like a flash sale on a product, I am not emailing you a bunch over the weekend or closing the doors even on a Sunday night, because for me, Sunday is still a day of rest and a day with my family. We can close the doors on a Monday whenever we're kind of back into the swing of things, because it aligns with my values. And I realized that I had to show up and do that out of integrity. And it wasn't until somebody had verbally said that I realized, okay, you know what? It doesn't have to specifically look a specific way because the values are important here. So, second question was, is this something that aligns with your values? The third one, is this something I actually want, or am I feeling pressure? This could be emotional pressure, physical pressure, mental pressure to make a decision. Now, yes, for example, when we open the doors for the academy, there's the additional bonuses, which might feel like some pressure. They're not designed to be pressure. So I guess if you're feeling the pressure from that, then don't. And I know I'm talking about the academy because it's front of mind. We just did this. But if you're feeling that pressure to do so, okay, A, we're aware of it now, right? We're aware that that you're feeling the pressure. So B, how do you move forward from that? I would try to remove that pressure. If you're changing your state, we talk about this in the Money Mindset Makeover Blueprint in regards to breakdowns, and inside the academy, of course. But you can do these same strategies even if like it's from the pressure that you're feeling. So changing your state, that means like getting outside, doing some breathing exercises, step away from it, remove distractions, do things to help you be able to recenter, refocus, whether it's having a dance party, really getting outside, that vitamin D, standing outside in the grass, taking some time away and re-centering yourself almost. You feel so much calmer, much more at peace. You can come back and make a clear, confident decision without feeling those external pressures. Yes, sometimes we have deadlines. And if there is a deadline that you have to meet, you have to make this decision by, you're like, I can't just walk away from for forever, then I would set a timer so you don't feel like you have to constantly set your watch. But then you can also immerse yourself in the grounding process. And I don't think having a deadline is a bad thing because it forces us to make a decision. We can also get stuck in procrastination when we don't have those deadlines. So deadlines are definitely designed to help us, but we have to use them to empower us. So that was our 3 questions that I use when it comes to making decisions, specifically about making smart money decisions with confidence. All right. First one was, is this something that will benefit you long term? Secondly, is this something that aligns with your values? And then third, am I feeling pressure, emotional, physical, mental, etc., to make a decision now? So your challenge for today, I want you to reflect on a decision, because we've all done this. I can tell you mine if you want to know, where we did not utilize these 3 steps. And we made a poor decision. And we realized in retrospect, there we go, we should have done things differently. A quick example for myself, the vehicle that we bought, it was a 2012 Dodge Journey. We had just found out that we were pregnant with my second, Wyatt, newly married with my husband. He drove a Jeep at the time. I drove a little paid off Toyota Corolla. And we found out we were pregnant in November and knew we were going to have to get a vehicle, like a different vehicle, just car seats. Everybody wouldn't fit in the Corolla anymore. And we definitely wouldn't fit in his 2-door Jeep. But instead of taking time and research things like we should, the first time we went to go look at a car in December, so I'm like, what, a month and a half, maybe 2 months pregnant at the time, definitely didn't have to rush. We ended up that we traded in his Jeep for this Dodge Journey. And I remember even leaving the dealership that night, like we were both devastated because we loved the Jeep. And, there might have been another alternative out there. That vehicle was not a great car anyways. It wasn't something I had originally went in to look at. We were kind of talked into it. And I logically knew better, but I was feeling the pressure mentally, probably like emotionally, physically from the car salesman, all of those things, not like verbal pressure. There we go. From the car salesman, like to make the decision and all of those things. And even though logically, like I knew better, and we talk about inside the academy, like how to buy a car and like what things to do to make sure it's a smart decision and all of those things, like it didn't matter in that moment. Was not thinking from a logical perspective. If I would have used these 3 questions, we would have known better. But if we hadn't have gone through that experience, we wouldn't have had as good of experience as we did when we bought my Expedition, because, the lesson was learned a little bit more powerfully because we had that personal experience. If we hadn't have gone through that, then all these other things wouldn't have happened. And of course, it all works out. It all works out the way it's supposed to be. mistakes aren't, yeah, they're kind of mistakes, but like, it's not something to look on like negatively. It's, we learn from them. You either get the result you're looking for or the lesson you needed. In that case, I got the lesson I needed. So your challenge today is to share with me on Instagram at Aimee Cerka, what lesson have you learned by not applying these 3 questions? And I can't wait to hear how you're going to use them in the future. That's it for now. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast.